Firstly, I'd just like to say thanks very much to Cassiopeia for the opportunity to speak on behalf of IMC Exploration today. Thanks very much, it's very well organised. Here's the disclaimer. IMC Exploration Group is an Irish-based mineral exploration company with a number of prospecting licenses in the Republic of Ireland. IMC recently listed on the LSE main exchange under the ticker IMC. I'd like to just begin with talking about Ireland as a mining destination. Many of you might not realise the extent of mining that is currently going on in Ireland and the amount of exploration that is going on in Ireland. The thing that makes Ireland unique as a mining destination really is the geology. In addition to the currently producing deposits in Tara mines located here, it's about 3 million tonnes a year of 7% zinc and 2% lead. You also have Galantas Irish Gold up here in Northern Ireland, and you have a number of recently produced operators that closed in the late noughties. Down here, Lachine and Galmoy zinc and lead operations as well, but there is a big history of gold in Northern Ireland and also in Leinster. This all stems, I guess, from the closure of the Iapetus suture line. The central basin of Carboniferous limestones have hosted zinc-lead deposits going back many, many years. Big companies have explored in Ireland: Rio Tinto, Tech. You've got Boliden, who own Tara. Anglo American and Vedanta owned Lachine at various stages. But all of those zinc-lead mines are in the central Carboniferous basin. The northwest of Ireland, you have a belt of Dalradian metasediments, which hosts big gold finds in Galantas, and also Dalradian gold, which is at its licensing stage, about to open. It's got about 4 million ounces. And then probably the area of most interest to us would be the Leinster Massif, which has a number of VMS deposits of copper and gold, including Avoca, which is IMC's main asset. Which was a copper gold mine in production until the 1980s. There's been metalliferous mining in the Avoca region for centuries, dating back to Roman times. It was even mentioned in Ptolemy's map. This is a view of the central area of the Republic of Ireland. You've got, as I mentioned, Tara mines located up here. You have Galmoy and Lachine, zinc-lead producers down here. You have silver mines, lead producer here in Tina, zinc, lead, copper. You've also got major prospects all around this region, big exploration companies currently drilling in this area. But Avoca is located here in the east, just south of Dublin. IMC also has licenses down here in North Wexford, and also a zinc lead license over here near this Kilbricken deposit. Continuing with the theme of Ireland as a mining destination, why invest in Ireland? I guess it's got a stable economy and government, good road and power infrastructure. It's currently ranked in the top 5 countries in the Fraser Institute rankings for mining investment. It was number 1 and number 1 for a few years, and we're hoping to get that spot back again. We were voted the most productive workforce in the OECD. Very educated and skilled workforce, English speaking, low corporation tax, which can sometimes be controversial. Population of almost 5 million, GDP in 2017 of 293 billion, that's gone up about 7% since. Temperate climate and strategic location between Europe and North America. So I guess just in comparison to some of the other companies, the countries that you may be investing in, it's got all that going for it really. So IMC's primary asset, Avoca, has a huge amount of historic mine waste in the area. What we're targeting is spoil heaps on the old site. They're dotted across the whole valley. The cleanup presents an opportunity for secondary metal reprocessing and environmental rehabilitation, which would have the support of many government departments, including the EPA. Processing technology has moved on since many of these dumps were first developed. Like I said, mining dates back to the 2nd century in this area, so, or at least the 2nd century. So underneath these spoil heaps may be hand sorted material. It's got a low capex compared to a new mine. Essentially, you can go in and start reprocessing this metal and use that money maybe for further exploration. Offtake agreements can be made with existing concentrators on the island of Ireland, which means you don't need an expensive mill or concentrator. Just going back to what I said about old Ptolemy here in the 2nd century, Oboka is the Avoca region, so it was mentioned on Ptolemy's map of Ireland, so it was clearly had significance even dating back to the 2nd century. There's a hill in the valley called Tigroni, which in Irish translates as the house of the Romans. So people say the Romans never made it to Ireland, but there is evidence to suggest that they may have come over and traded metal in this region. So that's quite interesting. So what have we done to date? Essentially, we have produced a mineral resource estimate for the spoil heaps. The spoil heaps are already blasted, crushed material that was hauled from the underground mine, just sitting on surface. We undertook to dig deep trenches or trial pits in the area in order to prove up an MRE, as I mentioned. That MRE is JOR compliant, and it shows a resource of 1.87 million tonnes of, like I said, already crushed material. I was at a conference a few weeks ago where the metallurgists were saying that up to 60 or 70% of the cost and energy involved in mining is to get it out of the ground and crushed. So this has already been crushed. The grades are 0.3 grams per tonne gold, 0.14% copper, silver of 9 parts per million, and lead of approaching 0.5%, which equates to 20,000 ounces of gold, 2.6 thousand tonnes of copper, and 7.8 thousand tonnes of lead, and 600,000 ounces of silver. Those grades might not seem spectacular in the spectrum of grades in mining, but again, this material is sitting there causing an environmental, requiring environmental cleanup. So much of the risk and energy and cost has been taken out of it. So we conducted trial pits in 2018 and then subsequently got the MRE. These are the results of the MRE. The MRE was conducted by CSA Global. The sample density was deemed sufficient for an inferred resource. The MRE is, as I said, based on the sample pits dug with an excavator with vertical interval samples taken at metre intervals. We have different areas across the valley. We have the Forest of Gold, or l'Arbre d'Or as we call it, which has shown grades of, on average, 5.2 grams per tonne. Very high silver grades and lead grades as well. The main body of the main volume of material, I guess, is in that Tigroni area and Mount Platt here. You can see the tonnage here of 841,000 in Croneban, 85,000 in Tigroni, Mount Platt. That MRE is available. We have copies of it as well here today. So in addition to the spoil heaps, in that prospecting license, there is also there's more data we have essentially, and also exploration targets for gold. So first of all, the EPA and the Geological Survey of Ireland took samples from these spoil heaps, which verified all of our work. So there's secondary analysis done on that material. Geophysics survey conducted by a government department called TELUS, which was a joint Northern Ireland and Southern Ireland initiative, confirms high levels of gold in the stream sediments near Goldmine River on prospecting license 3857, and also the Avoca region, which is 3850, 3849. So these are remote to the actual spoil heaps, but on the same license. And we've got fantastic gold sediments in the area, as well as quite high angularity of gold grains, which would indicate that we're close to a significant gold source. The angularity was analysed by the Raw Materials Research Group at Trinity College. And their research into the pyrogenesis of gold in Caledonian terrains across Ireland identified that Kilmacoo zone, which is northeast of the property, was highly prospective. We intersected 90 metres of quartz vein schist with 2.88 grams per tonne gold and 16 grams per tonne silver. The site was also explored in the past by Rio Phoenix Exploration, and although no resource was published at the time, there is a non-compliant resource of 500,000 tonnes at up to 2 grams per tonne, present over a 125 metre strike length, which is the equivalent of over 35,000. When you add that to our 20,000 ounces in the spoil heaps, that makes 55,000 ounces. And there's some core drilled by Rio Phoenix showing significant alteration. So why IMC and why now, you might ask? So really the key selling points for IMC is that you get a quick return on your investment. The metals are sitting there on surface, already mined. A lot of the risk is gone out of it. It's been blasted and crushed. Like I mentioned, most of the energy involved in mining is pre that stage. You can use conventional technology, screening, fines recovery, XRF. There's a number of techniques you can use for gold recovery. In addition, as I mentioned, it's low capex, and that return on investment can be used then to further explore some of the great exploration potential on the Avoca license and on some of IMC's other licenses. So we've talked about IMC's spoil heaps and the potential for reprocessing there. Here is a map showing the other exploration licenses that IMC holds. So you've got the Avoca block here and the Gold Mines River block, which are next to each other. You've also got the Kilmichael or North Wexford licenses just to the south along the same geological trend. I should mention that this trend continues across the Irish Sea into the Paris Mountain copper mine that's located in North Wales. It's the same trend. And also via plate tectonics, there is a number of copper deposits in Canada which are on the same geological trend. So there's exploration companies in Ireland exploring all along this trend. So the North Wexford exploration licenses. We have bonanza grade gold in the area. There was drilling done at Bowley, which had 1.5 meters with 354 grams per ton, but the average interval over 13.5 meters was 3.5 grams per ton. We also had notable drill intercepts on PL 2551 of 0.72 meters at 10 grams per ton, and 1.3 meters at 3.81 grams per ton, 1.2 meters at 8.3 grams per ton, and 5 meters at 2.4. The competent persons report, which was conducted last year, stated that IMC has significantly grown the prospectivity of this North Wexford area, and there's a number of countries now snapping up licenses in the area trying to explore for same. Oh, sorry, I should just mention this is stream sediment data for this area, the southeast of Ireland, essentially. This high here is the Avoca area, and then you've got the North Wexford licenses in this area here. So we've talked about gold so far. There's also, IMC has licenses in Clare, which is in the southwest of Ireland, which is next door to Hanan Metals' major Kilbrickin deposit. This is a zinc lead find. It may be a little bit off topic, but it's a highly prospective license as well. There's significant alteration encountered in all the core that we've drilled here, brecciation and replacive pyrite of up to 25%, hematization in the Walsartian limestone, which again is alteration. And this all shows, these are signals and signs, characteristics that have been encountered across all of the major zinc lead finds in Ireland, including Tara, Lachine, Galmoy silver mines. So just to summarise the technical aspect of this presentation. Really, the key asset of IMC exploration is the spoils. Almost 2 million tonnes. There's a potential to grow that resource as well. There's a whole side of the valley that hasn't been explored in terms of trial pits. So that resource will go up. The grades will go up. The spoils have low capex just to get some money get some return, which can then be used for gold exploration in the area. It's low risk, low capex, high exploration potential. There is an imperative there for a cleanup. There's low operational risk, no blasting, no crushing, no geological risk, no mine risk, all the stuff I mentioned before. There's the high gold in the stream sediments, a collaboration with Trinity College, which shows that we're near a major gold source in Kilmacoo, and an additional non-compliant resource in Kilmacoo as well. The Tulla license is, like I said, shows significant alteration in pyrite mineralization, and the North Wexford licenses have amazing intercepts of gold. So I'd like to just hand you over to Eamon, our chairman here, who's just going to conclude.
My name is Eamon O'Brien. I am the executive chairman of IMC. I joined IMC last May. My background is I worked in Wall Street as a stockbroker. I worked with the top stockbrokers in Ireland, NCB, Davy Stockbrokers. So I've been on your side of the table, as it were, from an investment point of view, for many years. Now, the opportunity to join IMC came to me through some business colleagues, and when I looked at IMC, I could see that number one, the company was totally undervalued. Number two, it had the potential to be listed on the main market. Now, obviously, that was quite a challenge to come in and take the company, a small junior mining exploration company, to the main market of the London Stock Exchange. And we achieved that, and got our first trading day was the 8th of July. So in that sense, we're quite new. Now, as Jonathan has shown, basically I'm here to set out to you why we would be a good company to invest in. As Jonathan has shown, from the geology point of view, we have, even in a small country, we have three very exciting plays, if you like. We have the spoils and the tailings, which are sitting above ground, low capex, low operational costs to mine, and a potential cash flow for the company. We have a very good gold potential reserves. Our mineral resource estimate was announced some time ago, I think September, and that showed basically that the mineral resource estimate related to the spoils and tailings. But if you take the figures of 20,000 ounces of gold and the 600,000 ounces of silver, and the lead and 7.5 tons of lead and zinc and copper, you can see, if you apply today's prices to all of that, that is a very significant amount of money. Yet, our market capitalization is today, at least when I was leaving Ireland today, was 5.4 million. Now, any of you here can get your geology analysts to walk through the figures on the presentation of the MRE, which was done by CSA Global, a very renowned geological consultants. And you can see that there is very significant value in our company just in the spoils and tailings. Many multiples of the present market capitalization. Now, the other thing then is that if you just then separate out our gold play, there's 20,000 sitting on the surface, 20,000 ounces sitting on the surface at Avoca. We have a non-compliant, and by the way, that was because lots of work was done before the JORC code of 2012 came in, but we have a non-compliant estimate of 35,000 ounces. So that's 55,000 ounces, all right? Multiply that by $1,500, and what do you get? You get over 80 million. And yet, and I think there's a rule of thumb that I used to know from the stockbroking side of things, that it used to be a word of advice and caution. Don't invest, the market cap shouldn't be more than 50% of the value of the gold in the ground. And we've already demonstrated, 55,000 ounces, 80 million. What's 50% of that? 40 million. What's our market cap? 5.4 million. So you can see why when I looked at it back in last May, felt that here was a company with only upside potential. Having worked in the stockbroking business, I saw as well the huge potential of, if we could get listed on the main market of the London Stock Exchange, the amount of opportunities that would come our way. But the first thing that you have to do as a chairman of a company is to make sure that at least the share price is somewhat reflective of the value, of the underlying value in the company. Right now it isn't. But as I said, we're only newly listed. This is our first major presentation to investors. But I have no doubt that when we get the word out there, in other words, we'll pull the light out from under the bushel, as they say, that when we get out there, people will realise the value that is there. And once we have the share price, representative somewhat of the value of the company, then is the time to be talking to people who, by the way, have already approached us. A number of people have approached us, see the benefit of, some of them see the value of the metals and what we have and realise we're undervalued. Others want to talk about JVs for the spoils and tailings. Because our spoils and tailings, by the way, is the one spoils and tailings project that was always stated by the government, by Camp Dresser, McKee, various reports as the one lucrative, potentially lucrative spoils and tailings project in Ireland, and it's ours. So in terms of the future of the company then, we'll do as Alexis, I think, or Angelicus, was it? The man that spoke about the junior gold companies, is we intend to prove up our Kilmacoo gold reserve. We have an MRE on our spoils and tailings. We believe from work that we're doing with Trinity College, which was a great, they actually approached us. Trinity College have one of the best analytical laboratories in Europe. And a guy, the assistant professor, was given a challenge to class. You have 40 projects to look at between Sweden and Spain, including Ireland. And they looked at those 40 projects and said, you can now decide and spend money on that, and hopefully the college will get some academic kudos out of it. But they decided that they would work, asked us if they could work on Avoca. And we said, why? And they said, basically, everybody believes that there is gold, there's a mother lode of gold to be found in the Leinster. It's been found in Dalradian, found it up in Ulster, but it hasn't yet been found in Leinster. And as Jonathan pointed out, even south of us, south of Avoca, on our Gold Mine Rivers project, Brighton University did a study there, and they found that the angularity of the grains suggested that there has to be a gold source nearby. And we believe CSA Global, who did the competent persons report for us, believe that could be orogenic type gold, which is the bigger and larger type deposit. But the other interesting thing that Brighton found was that there was also, at the same location in those rivers, there was more rounded, less angular gold grains, and they had to have travelled further than the angular stuff. So not only did they believe there would be one source of gold, but there could be a number of sources of gold. So effectively, as I said, and then we have the Tulla project, the zinc project, and we've all of the famous zinc projects in Ireland have been found in the Walsortian, and we've drilled into it. We're in the Walsortian, and Ireland is a small country, and often people say, isn't it nice to be near where somebody found something? But at the end of the day, it's the geology that matters, not who's beside you. And we have, as Jonathan showed there, we have very strong indicators through the geology. So to summarise then, we have a very good management team. IMC was set up by a number of older senior geologists who looked at what they thought would be the best licenses in Ireland that were available at the time, and we acquired those licenses. Two of those lads are still on the board. I've joined the board with the hope and the expectation that we get listed, because I tend to drive companies. The last business that I co-founded was a payments processing company. We started from scratch in Ireland. That company is now owned by MasterCard. We drove the company on. We went out into the globe, into the world, and we won the contracts. We were backed by Tony Ryan. I don't know if you know the name. I'm sure Ryanair. backed us, and we delivered. And I hope that I'll be able to do the same for the shareholders in IMC. Thank you very much.
What's the competition where you are at the moment in comparisons to other companies who might be way ahead of you in the curve or way behind you?
I'll probably give that to Eamon, but in terms of spoils and tailings reprocessing, there's currently there's no companies in Ireland doing anything similar. There's been a long history of gold reprocessing in countries like South Africa in the spoil heaps there. There is also a sign that it's starting to move down the value chain to other commodities. So we have gold reprocessing potential in the spoil heaps in Ireland. I don't know of any other company that's doing it in Ireland anyway.
Yeah, well, there are a number of, again, we call them junior minor exploration companies listed on AIM, like Connemara would be an example. They would be in the vicinity of our North Wexford licence. I mean, Leinster is regarded as a potentially hot place to be looking for gold as the Northern Ireland block. See, Ireland, and I think Jonathan can correct me here if I'm wrong, but Ireland is divided into two major geological sections. And the northern section was where Dalradian found the gold. So we know then that gold, as it were, isn't, we're not mistakenly finding gold in Leinster in rivers, believing it came from there. We believe that it's a separate block, the Leinster block. So no doubt there's a number of companies, as I mentioned, Connemara and those looking for gold as well.
I mean, given the compelling geological and business case, is there a latent sort of social, environmental impact risk here? Has that been analysed fully or mitigated? I just wonder if you say a few words on that.
Yeah, so I mean, it is a current environmental liability, and anything we do from here on in is going to lessen that liability. So if we were to reprocess those tailings and extract more metal, that means less water treatment, less requirement for capping. Some of the material may have secondary uses if the metal content and sulfide content can get low enough. So in terms of the environmental impact of what we're doing, we would see it as an environmental cleanup, but that has a benefit of producing metal and money.
I know it's early days in your mineralogical testing of the spoils and heaps, but is there anything that you can tell us at this stage about a likely flow sheet and recovery factors you might achieve?
Yeah, so I mean, the metallurgy is going to be key to the spoil heaps project. We've had initial met test work done by Grinding Solutions lab in Cornwall in the UK, and it's been positive so far. It sort of depends on the economics. Like you could do a multi-stream reprocessing whereby you take the coarse element and you use XRF or XRT to sort that. You could take the mid-size and use spiral classification and then maybe microgravity separation on the lower size. We've done initial test work on microgravity separation, which was very positive. We've got significant upgrades. So I guess it depends on if you're targeting all the metal, then it could be multiple ore streams and multiple methods. You also have to be cognizant of choosing the right method for the right size range and the right element. So all I can say really is the test work that we've done so far with Grinding Solutions has been positive. The microgravity separation test work's got very good upgrades on the copper and the gold. But other than that, we're in the midst of more. We've sent more bulk samples over to the lab in Cornwall, and that's going to be reported when we have that information and have had a chance to digest it.
Thank you.
I should mention, sorry, just all of that technology is fairly conventional. It's and cheap in terms of operating costs. Thank you very much.
Thank you.